evening,
How is
everyone.
everyone tonight? Thank you so much for being a part of marriagemakes3.com. I'm Pastor Michelle. This is my sweetie, Pastor G.
Thank you, Tom.
We are spiritual relationship counselors. We are veterans of the United States Air Force, and we are your
Go
GOAT.
for all things
Yeah.
relationship. Thank
So
you this evening for joining
come
us.
on in the room, invite the people, share the broadcast, and let's talk. Now, last night we talked about the 660 sizzling, the 660 secrets to better intimacy, or something to that effect. It has something to do with
Mhm.
that, right? And so tonight we're talking about the sizzling intimacy in sex for couples,
Mhm.
because we have to deal with some of these issues we've got going on out here in the world that we're living in, especially when we're talking about these relationship streets. If you ain't got it together, you ain't gonna you got to get it together. That's all there is to it.
You need something going
Yeah.
on at home.
Oh
You need it.
yes.
You need
And
it. You need it.
and you need it badly.
Thank
We've
you
been
for
hearing some
coming in here,
stories, you
guys.
guys, and so we don't want to be those that end up dealing with divorce. We have found out last night that every 13 seconds in these United States that there is a divorce happening. And so what we need to do is begin to do the work so that we're not finding ourselves in these situations. So come on in here, invite somebody. If this is your first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. Tell us where you're
Happy.
from. Tell us your name, what you want us to call you. I was telling them earlier today, honey, in on my Instagram story, because I said something to someone that just followed me, and I said, "Thank you, love," and it triggered something. I was like, "Oh, a memory just came
Mhm.
back." And when I was in school, I used to call people in junior high and high school. I started calling people honey and darling and sweetheart and things like that, and I used to get into so many fights.
You're old for your age, I guess.
I don't know. They just did not. They did not like me. I just
Wow.
consistently had to fight.
So there was a jab. You had that.
Yeah, I didn't mean anything by it. It's simply a term of endearment. I
Mhm.
talk to people like that, and I don't mean anything by it. It's just that I love people, and I want them to feel comfortable around me.
They didn't feel the
No,
love.
they didn't feel
Okay,
the
I
love,
appreciate that.
but they did feel
Thanks. Thanks.
they did feel the
Thanks.
locker door hitting them upside their head.
Oh
They
my
did
goodness.
feel that.
So okay.
Yeah.
Since you want to let me love you, let me slap you around a little bit. You gonna
I know.
mistreat me? You want to fight? Hey,
Right.
I can
I
do
can
that
do
too.
that too. And the thing about it, I never got suspended. I never had any disciplinary
Yeah.
action because I was like this with the principal.
Mm.
And I would go in and let them know, like, listen, so and so's bugging me. They saying this, da 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 da. And then next thing you know, they would find themselves the time I came home in the back of the police car. It's,
If you're not coming home, please. Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't my fault though. It really wasn't. She came. We we rode home in metro buses in where I live, and so the city metro buses would come and pick us up, and we had assigned bus routes and assigned buses that we were supposed to get on. And we even had little passes that you had to show to get on certain buses.
Mhm.
But further down in the year,
Yeah.
it's like they forget.
People get on the wrong bus
Yep,
and
that's
yeah.
exactly right. And so that's what one of the chicks ended up doing. She got on my bus, and we ended up in this big, huge fight on the bus. And I ended up, that's when I ended up in the back of the car of the police vehicle. And so there you have it, Pastor Michelle's life of crime.
All right. Thanks for coming in, everybody. You all go ahead and invite somebody to join
Yeah.
us. Hello,
Invite
hello,
them.
you
Tell them to come
Kimmy.
on in here. How are you,
Mhm.
love? Thank you for joining us tonight. So, again, I'm Pastor Michelle. This is my sweet husband, Pastor G. We are spiritual relationship counselors. We are veterans of the United States Air Force and your go to couple for all things relationship. And tonight we are right back in. We're talking more about sex because we've been talking about connecting our relationships. And in the way that we do that, especially in the marriage, is that we connect through sexuality. And so if you are one of those that are dealing with this issue, and or you know someone, you know your girlfriends be telling you, man, ain't nothing been going on in the bedroom. You need to go on and call them, tell them that we're here, give them the link, and let them know that we are ready tonight. We're going to talk about this. Kim said she had to get punched in the throat. It is what it is. All my life, I had to fight. And I came to these United States with a very heavy accent. I came with a very chocolate complexion. And somehow, some way, that wasn't, desirable back in the day. And so I understand when people say stuff about racism and all of that, I get it. But I didn't experience most of the racism that I dealt with. Hey, Nurture by Natasha, most of the racism that I dealt with wasn't from people that are different color than me. They were just people that were lighter than me. And so those were some of those things, those traumatic experiences that you go through, that you learn from and you grow from. And then you can teach other people, like, you know what, honey, you don't have to worry about that. You just have to be you, right? Beautiful people, don't you? Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
All right, so guys. So we've been talking about sex and intimacy
We have.
in the marriage department. Now, look, if you're single and in here, just so you know, this is what we're going to talk about.
Right, but you can get you a little knowledge, because y'all, if you want to, you're one of those that want to be married, then this is the place for you. Kim says, "What's her name?"
We're not going to name names. Listen, there's enough stuff going on in our world that we're not going to.
So we're showing love
in that area. We just want to try to lighten things up because it's heavy out here.
It really is.
With coronavirus and everything
crazy
else
people
that's going on.
Yeah. Yes.
And so we're going to try to just kind of keep it light
and
just give you some things that'll be healthy in your marriage relationship.
Yes.
It's going to help you.
So come on in here and invite the people, and let's start talking tonight. So I wanted to say, you all give us those number ones there in the chat. Give us a number one so that we can go through this. We're talking about the sizzling intimacy and sex for couples, and we've got 6 of them tonight. 6 things that you can do if your flame has fizzled out and you want to get the passion back in your relationship. You want to hit that thing out the park. You want to have continuous cookies.
What are we hitting out of the park? What thing are we hitting out of the park?
Some of the stuff, some of the mess. You guys know we're out here doing too much sometimes, and some of us is doing too little.
We knew you were.
Some of y'all is doing too little, and that becomes a problem as well. See, I understand that we get tired. I understand that life comes in. We've got kids, we got chores, we got work, and all of those things. But something happens when the connection between the husband and the wife is broken. And so when we were talking about the flirting secrets last night, just 6 simple things you can do. Doesn't have to cost you a quarter. You can do it to kind of bring that dopamine level back up, to bring that passion that may have fizzled back to the place where it will flourish and that you'll be able to see some results.
That's true.
Okay.
Because when we're not talking, one of the first things that goes lacking, besides the conversation, is the intimacy department.
Yes.
It's interesting that you can not have any money, but still have wonderful sex in your relationship.
Oh, yes.
But if you're not talking, if you're not communicating with each other,
it becomes harder.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're wading through some quicksand or something, that the more that you try to get towards the other person, the more that you start sinking down.
Absolutely.
And y'all, when we're dealing with couples, we've talked to couples before. We've had encounter sessions with couples that have not been physically, sexually active for years.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about a year or 2. I'm talking 8 years, 16 years. Wow. And I'm like, wait, what?
That's a lot of quicksand, guys.
Wow. what are we really doing right now? And how in the world are we supposed to have the kind of intimacy that we should with each other if we're only coming together? I mean, even if you're in prison, they'll let you come in and get you some conjugal visits.
Really?
Won't
What prisons?
Man, there are prisons.
I mean, I don't want to go to find out, but I'm just saying, a lot of places don't. You know, look, that's why you give up your right to vote. You become a felon, you give up your right to vote, and you give up your right to anything else. So you're married. Well, good for you. Let's see how that lasts. Natasha says intimacy is very important. So, they said, now that's not our problem. You got yourself in here. So, you got to write some good letters. And heaven forbid we open your letters and they do open your mail.
Yes, they do. They absolutely do.
We find some what is it? What's the word? There's a word for it. They find in your mail. Propaganda, not propaganda. Paraphernalia. They find certain things in your mail. You're not getting your mail. And you may get your mail privileges taken away, period. So look, we're just saying, don't be going to jail if you come on. Oh, okay, I got you. Kimmy says you might
give up your right to be a man or a woman.
Oh my goodness. You might give up your right.
With you. Oh my God.
So listen.
I can't.
You're my friend, right or wrong, but if you're going to jail, I'm staying home. You're going to break the law, I'm staying home. So listen, guys, stay safe out there. Stay safe out there. We love you all. I want you to be around here with us. I want you to be able to enjoy your conjugal visits at home. And all the cookies there forthwith and
henceforth and forevermore. You are so silly. I cannot with you, y'all. So okay.
You all right? We're gonna get there.
I'm gonna be okay. Just stop talking.
Hey, we gotta make light of this, guy. Gotta laugh.
Okay, all right.
Laughter is important.
Okay, I think I'm good. I think I'm good now. Y'all. Oh my God. Okay. So we're talking sizzling intimacy and sex for couples. You guys come on in, invite someone, share the broadcast, drop it in a Facebook group or in a live broadcast somewhere. You all know what to do. Go ahead and do that for us tonight. And let us get into this. Natasha says, right, because germs are not cool for the cookies. I know that's right. Amen to that. We talk about intimacy here. We talk about it a lot because intimacy is the foundation of relationships, whether it's platonic or romantic. And so if you are in a platonic relationship with someone, there's still that place for trust and openness and nurturing. And when it comes to being in a marriage relationship where you've got a couple together, there's got to be some transparency that happens between the two of you. And that transparency also includes our sexual transparency. We talked about it a little bit last night, how when a man feels most loved, most honored and cared for and respected is when he has an opportunity to release himself with his wife. That the stresses and the tensions of the workaday world. He comes home, she comes home, you can be together and realize that there is more to this than what we see out there, that in here, there's a safe place. There's a sanctuary here that you can lay your head on my lap or my shoulder and know that you can be secure, safe, and loved, right?
That's right.
So intimacy, whether it's recreational, we talk about that here. We talk about intellectual intimacy. These are all different places that we need to learn how to become open with each other.
Spiritual intimacy.
Yes. Emotional intimacy and sexual intimacy. Okay. So when we're talking about this, we want to know, how is it that two people can be married to each other and be completely celibate with each other? And here's the thing.
Not celebrate.
Celibate. Right. And the thing is, it's not always that there is someone outside of the relationship that's taking attention. Hey, Nutmeg. Sometimes what we're dealing with is there is a lack of libido. We are dealing with maybe some medical issues. And so when we're talking tonight and giving you guys these 6 things, we want you to know that we are not insensitive to what people are going through and what they're dealing with. She says, say what? Yes, ma'am. Yeah. 8 years, 16 years, been together, loving each other. And it's not that there was infidelity, none of those things. But sometimes we realize that there's some other issues that we've got going on. So is it, when we're talking about increasing our desire factor, we have to figure out what it's not. Okay. And first thing that we have to make sure that it's not is that it's nothing physical. There some women, especially, and it can change because of childbirth, things of that nature. Are you one of those that experience pain during sexual intercourse? Okay, if you're experiencing pain, well, I can understand
something is physically wrong,
medically, and you're ambivalent about going in again, because every time you have sexual relation, you associate it with pain. Okay, then what's going to happen is you're going to kind of pull back away from your mate.
And that's why it's important that you be able to talk about these kinds of things without it being a joke.
Right.
You know, it can become a do you have another headache?
Oh.
You know, do you have another headache tonight?
Yeah.
If she seems reluctant to go to bed at a certain time, you know, you're smelling good, you're looking good, you've done all those things
you're supposed to be doing,
and
right?
And she seems reluctant to go to bed, then you don't want to get in the habit of, do you have another headache? Or are you in pain?
Yeah.
You know, but that's something you need to talk about.
Amen.
Talk to him about it. Or if it's you, guys, talk to her about it. Let her know what you are, because that's important. That's important in your relationship, that you be able to talk about everything.
Amen.
And that's why those levels and those types of intimacy that we discussed are important to your sexual. It's important. It's about everything.
Amen. That part. All right. And so, even when we're dealing with the physical pain, sometimes it's not physical. Sometimes it's some sort of trauma that the person may have dealt with in their existence. For example, if you have been molested, if you have been raped, if you have been, people have come out of sex industry, and realizing that sometimes there's some things that is in our past that is holding us back from giving ourselves completely to the person that we say that we love and we married and we want to be with. And that it doesn't mean that the person doesn't love the other person. It's just simply that there's things that has to be dealt with.
Or that they don't enjoy sex with you. It may be just a matter, again, of that thing that is in their past that's affecting them at this point. It may be an anniversary of an event that occurred when they're younger. So it could be any number of different things. And the key is that you be able to talk about these things openly. Now, if you're a little stowed up and you're walking around, you feel like your chest is going to burst or whatever, or that you're walking funny. And the tendency is with guys sometimes is that you'll joke it out. You know? And you don't want to joke with her feeling. You don't want to add to her pain, to her injury, right? And the same is true for guys. You know, maybe you may have gotten kneed at some point in your life, and you know, or that basketball injury, you know, kind of comes back. And you're feeling that. And so rather than talking it out, because somehow if I talk about things, a lot of guys feel that if I talk about these things, then it lessens my manhood. It's going to cause her to look at me different. But when this person really loves you, I mean, when she really digs you and she's into you and she's looking out for your highest good, she needs to know what's going on. It's critical.
It is. And, absolutely. Kimmy Doll says you may have to try a different position or some type of gel or oil. Yes. And there are a lot of things that we can do now. And some even have to go through some more stringent procedure. Some people may have to have some sort of surgery. There may have to be something else done. But we have to first rule those things out. Okay, because we don't want you to feel like we're oversimplifying an issue if that is your issue. Okay, we want you to know that we understand, and there are some things that we're going to ask you, and some things we may even recommend that you go in and see a doctor for those issues. Natasha says, just share in another way. We will take that. Yes, be upfront. Amen. We don't mind knowing what's going on. And we're going to read some out of our first book, our second book, actually, because we promised that you all that we would last night. I want you guys to know that we have available also. Don't forget, this is the free download. This is called Sex Connect on site. It is a free download that is going to help you with your communication and your sexual relations. Sex Connect, yes, no, maybe so, whatever you like to call it. Go on over, get that free download. That's all you. It's going to help. We promise you, it's going to help. Okay. So we're going to read tonight for those of you that. Hey, John, thanks for joining. For those of you that do know, that do have a copy of what we're going to read some out of Erogenous Zones Exploring Marital Intimacy, we want you to know that this is a resource for you. And if you use it as such, you will find that there may be something that you're dealing with or someone that you know that's dealing with. And maybe for them, this is what they will need in order to get over the hump. Okay? All right. She said, yes, God. Okay. So go ahead,
and I was thinking that there are cases where a person may need a different type of foreplay, or a longer period of foreplay, indirect touching, and taking advantage of those erogenous zones, which is what the title of our book implies. And so, so there are a lot of ways to work through a problem. But you have to know that there's a problem first of all, and so it's critical that you be able to talk about these things. Now, maybe you're in a position, you're in a relationship, you're in a place where you are unable to really lay it all out on the table. You mentioned earlier something I think is very critical, and we live in that time. And that is maybe a person has been a sex worker in the past. Maybe all of us have a past, but maybe your past was a little bit different.
Right.
And you are fighting your way back to wholeness.
Yes.
You left a part of yourself out there and you're trying to get whole. Maybe you would benefit from a 15-minute or 45-minute or a weekly or a monthly session with us to help you get back to a place of normalcy, help you get delivered from some of those things that you're going through. Because our past does really have a huge effect on us.
Yes, it can impact us greatly, and it can impact our relationships. And so that's where we have to come in and do some more work, okay? And that's what we do here at marriagemakes3.com. So find us there, hashtag GDNme all over, and you can go to the site marriagemakes3.com, and there you will find the information to get a free encounter session with us, okay? So reading out of our book, Erogenous Zones Exploring Marital Intimacy. Hey, Sister Shirley, thank you for joining. Appreciate you so much. if you have the book, you can go to page 45 and let's read just a little bit out of this. Hey, Miss Groovy, how are you, lady?
Yeah.
So this is the section on precautions. And yes, there is a section in here about foreplay and resplendence and readiness and lovemaking and the zones that you need to check into. It's more than just that triangle area. There's other places that you can, you can, Lord, how do I say it? There are different places on the human body that reacts to certain stimuli. Okay. And sometimes we haven't explored all of those areas.
Yeah.
So what we need to do is, and we do have a graph, a diagram in here of all the different places that could be erogenous. It will depend on who you are and who your mate is. And the reason that we go through research and development is so that we can find those spaces. Okay. And when we find them, then we're able to work them out the way that they need to for them to respond to us. How about that? How about that?
That's good. Well,
hey, Miss Groovy, it's funny. I had both books on my bed. Come on through here now. So page 45, talking about precautions. This section is addressed primarily to men. We want you to hear us, okay? We know, we got it. We understand that there are some things that you all deal with specifically. Something that you said earlier, that men, sometimes you all have this thing where you don't want to divulge your weakness or the thing that scares you or you're afraid of or whatever. And so this is that part. Hey, DJ Mike, how are you, sir? Thanks for joining.
Mike.
She said, sure, Sarah said, suck them toes if you like. Yes, if you like toes, that's a part. There are places that you need to discover between each other. Hey, Dave, thank you for joining. So we're talking primarily here to the men as men, and I should probably have you read this, but I think maybe gems are being dropped. Thank you, Deidre. Thanks for telling the people. This section is addressed primarily to men. As men, we have a simpler sexual structure and generally require less preparation. And face it, we are more easily sexually gratified.
That's men.
That's y'all men's.
Let me go ahead.
Come on, come on, tell the people. Thank you, sir.
You should, therefore, take greater care and caution in ensuring the satisfaction of your mate. Her gratification should always be your most paramount consideration in lovemaking. This is especially important to newlyweds, first timers, or if you've had a great deal of time has elapsed since you last had sex.
Yes.
Newlyweds, please read our book before your honeymoon.
Yes.
Once men ejaculate, it may take some time before we can be ready again. Recovery may take as little as 15 to 30 minutes in 18-year-olds or 45 minutes or more in older men. Recovery can be faster with relaxation, hydration, and proper stimulation.
Yes.
Okay. You're going to say something?
No.
Okay. Overthinking it can generate stress and delay your next erection.
Okay. So I think I asked them for the ones in the chat because the number, we got 6 of them tonight. We're not having sex the way that we want to. We're not having it as often. It's lackluster.
I wonder.
What?
Would anybody like to chime in on that? I mean, if you're having sex as often as you'd like, just put a yes in the chat. Put a yes.
You know they ain't
if you're having it as often as you like, put yes. But for the most part, we're not having it as often
as we ought.
Or as are you being as free? As free or as freakish as you want?
Come on now.
Are you getting all you should be getting?
All you should be getting. Let's see. Miss Groovy One says properly stimulated.
Mhm.
Yes. Is that if that blue pill lasts go for 4 hours, go with it. They say if it go, you need to call somebody.
Yeah.
Yes, Lord. Amen. And Michael Talley says, no. All right.
So that's enough.
And the gentlemen, of course, are going to be the ones usually that say no. And so here's the thing. Yes, come on now. So here it is. Number one is this, that we have to, is not the, he said it's not the pill, it's the mate.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, there you have it.
On the table.
Freaks don't show and tell, sir. Come on. So number one thing that we have to remember is one of the ways that we can get back on track if we have fallen off the wagon is that we can head to bed earlier. Y'all, sometimes we're missing great, amazing, wonderful sexual relations with our spouses because we refuse to go to bed. Okay. And if you are one of those, like my husband was talking about here in our book, where we have been stressed, we've got all this tension built up, we got blue, whatever's balls or vulvas, B's or V's, you got blue B's or blue V's, you are in the place where this is going to help you. If we hadn't figured it out yet, that sexual relation, that release that you receive, that is going to pull some of the stresses and the tensions off of you. And so if indeed you're not getting it like you need to, and you're trying to find time and you're trying to figure out, well, what's going on? Why don't we do this as often? We have to learn that um, we have to make allowances for certain things. And if it's taking you longer to get to the place where you become fully erect or where she is fully ready sexually, then you need to go to bed early.
Yeah. Put it and it takes the foreplay.
Yes.
Is the word.
Yes.
It's really work. It's bringing your mate to a place of relaxation.
Right. Amen.
Now you can do all the foreplay if you're rushing in and you're trying to get this over with. You're trying to get in there quick, trying to get in where you fit in quick. Then you're not going to allow her to come to a place of relaxation where your foreplay efforts are going to be effective.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Amen.
So you're not going to be effective if you're trying to rush this thing.
Right.
So you said head to bed an hour earlier.
Yeah. Okay? That's one way for you to circumvent.
That's number one.
Yeah, to circumvent. Sometimes we get busy and we get super tired. And so if we put it in our minds, listen, we're going to go to bed 1 hour earlier. For some of you, that means going to bed at 7. You know what I'm saying? It just all depends. And so what you need is to find a way to do what needs to do. And if you're one of those that you can't go to bed earlier at night, we got something for you too, okay? Let's see. Brother Mike says, I used to take them till I got some new. Okay. Well, let's see, that's the thing. Now that he said that, we might as well go on and pull this out a little bit more. Whenever you are in a relationship where it's lackluster, it's blah, I could take it or I can leave it. What happens is that when you get into another relationship, and this is how we end up in extramarital infidelity and all of that, because anything different and new is exciting.
Yes.
And so that's why men, for the most part, all the studies that we have read, it's that men feel like the sex is boring.
Wow.
We're doing the same thing over and over and over, and they don't mind doing it over and over and over, but they want to do something different. Okay.
Now here's the thing. If we were equipped, if we were made to get out there and hunt down the prey, okay. I'm going and hunting wild boar.
Okay.
Tomorrow it may be a deer. The next day, it may be fish. It may be something easy.
Right.
So the idea is that there's some variety
Yes.
in my diet and my appetite.
Yeah.
So I'm hunting different things. What if you were to take that same principle and apply it to your
Yeah.
relationship? No, don't dress her up like in a piggy costume or a deer costume. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that your foreplay efforts
Yeah.
may need to shift just a little bit.
Yes. True.
So you're studying what it takes to bring her to the place where she is relaxed, where she is enjoying this. So you have to study.
Yeah. To
You
show
have to
thyself
study her.
approved.
You have to study her.
Amen.
And you have to, okay, this is her need. This is what she likes. So I've got to look at some ways that I
Right. To
can meet that need,
yes.
that I
Amen.
can bring that excitement,
Amen.
because you're going to find that she likes something a little bit different too.
Yes.
Okay?
Amen.
That torn BVD wife beater shirt with a hole in it, you know. Mhm.
Okay.
That dingy one that don't come white anymore. It may be time to retire it, burn it.
Burn that one.
I'm
Yes.
just saying.
It is what it
Okay.
is. And we have to do what we need to in order to keep the spice there. And
Yeah.
I mean, if you had to go to the same restaurant, I love pizza, but if I had to eat pizza every single day, I'd be like, okay.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah.
this is good, but I'm not even gonna be like, oh, I'm getting ready to get.
I'm not
It's,
even into tomatoes anymore. I don't want
I don't want
spaghetti. I don't want
I want nothing with
lasagna.
nothing Italian to it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. DJ mindset. He says blue bee are no joke.
Yes, sir.
Amen.
Yes,
Amen.
sir.
You don't want that. No blue V's or B's, Miss Groovy One says. Mike says, gotta kick the kids out the bed and give them a sleeping pill. Okay, that's another issue.
Okay.
All right. And we've seen it. Listen, y'all, if these children are still in your bed when they're 2 and 3
Yeah.
and 4 and 5,
And
they
6
need
and
to be
7
out.
and
Okay.
9.
Yes. Now,
Yeah.
if it's not something that has happened recently where they've been traumatized or some reason that they feel like they need to be next to you, them kids should be in the crib from the baby, right? I understand sometimes they fall asleep in the bed because you're nursing or whatever. I get all of that. But at a certain point, you got to kick children out your bed.
Yeah.
Kick
Yeah.
them out. Yes. Listen, there's a procedure for that too.
Mhm.
Okay. You need to know, come on in. Marriage makes the number 3.com, because
That's
some of
good.
y'all is doing too much. And I'm afraid for the most part, it's you ladies that's out here got these kids in this bed until they 25 years old. And we've got to stop
Mhm.
this mess.
And you will say that I'm happy with that. I love that my
Right.
kids like to be near me, but it does not mean
Yeah.
something's gonna suffer.
Yes. And what happens is, and we find this so many times, that once those children get grown and those parents are now not having to deal with the children, those kids go off and do what they want. And now this is suffering.
Mhm.
Okay. This relationship has not been nurtured. This
Mhm.
relationship hasn't been taken care of. We haven't been making deposits into each other because we're so busy worrying about them
Mhm.
chilling.
And let me go you one better. What often happens, because you allow that to take place, these kids are in your bed, and now by the time you're out and you've gotten one out of the house, all of a sudden you got grandkids that are at your house.
Bruh.
And you love having them around because isn't anything happening between you and
Yeah.
Mr. You know? And sadly,
Yeah.
that, and so you're kind of waiting on each other
That's right.
to see who's
Yeah.
going
Who's gonna die first? Ain't
let's
nobody
see,
got
let's
time.
see if that other eye opens. Them eyes aren't open that I can call,
Right. Call Mr. Weston if that's our local funeral.
call the
Or
corner. We're
Pastor.
gonna skip the doctor, go right to the corner. Come and get her. Come and get her. Now listen,
It is what it
we're
is.
laughing about that,
But it's
but
the truth.
we
Okay.
don't want that for you.
Relax, relate, then release. It definitely works. As
Mhm.
Shirley says, to get your rest. Amen. Ooh, we
Yeah.
missed a lot of this,
So
honey.
the circadian rhythm,
Yeah, come on.
our sleep cycles. Um, we all have one, whether we realize it or not. And most of us, I get my best work at night done at night, I still sleep best at night. That makes sense. So I have to find a time when I can settle down with my mate. That's critical. If there's an extra hour in bed, means that you're going to have some QT.
Okay.
You better get in there.
You better get in there. All right. Let's see.
Sorry,
We
guys.
got a lot. Let's see.
Okay.
The cleanup woman knows. We missed a bunch. But okay, we think we were right here. She said, get your rest. And Kim says she or he may not be that into you. Mike Talley says that my new lady is slacking already. What? You better pull her up. Pull her up by the bootstraps. What is she doing? You can't be doing that. How you gonna just start slacking so quick? Okay. Shirley says nothing the same. Nothing stays the same. You've got to spice it up. Amen. And that goes for your chicken and your meats as well. Put some seasoning on that stuff. Don't nobody want no dry, nasty, non-tasting chicken, right? So wash it first. I know that's I need you to get some good old spices. I'm spoiled. My husband, right? My husband spoils us. We get spices, we get brined chickens and meats and stuff, so that by the time it gets in the oven, the flavor is already going all throughout the piece of meat, right? And so you don't want, after you've had that, how do you go back to that bland, nasty, no, Mrs. Dash, you better get up out of my cupboard. We understand we ain't supposed to have too much salt, but at the same time, we want some flavor. Okay. Yeah. All right. So groupie it up. Sex should be like a meal. You don't eat the same thing every day. Come on, Miss Groovy One. Yes. Variety is the spice of life. And Michael says, and hair bonnets. DJ Mike.
There's a cost to being beautiful.
What? Tell us about these hair bonnets, sir. Yeah. And it depends. See, and here's the thing. Let me say this: when you are having the amount and the types of sexual relations with your spouse that you kind of want, it might, because nobody ever is completely satisfied one way or another, because we're different people, we have different time cycles and all of that. But when you're satisfied for the most part with the quantity and the quality, then things like hair bonnets and shaves not being shaven, and the hole in the wife beater, all of those things become a little bit more, you have a little bit more
tolerable.
Yes.
Okay.
Acceptable. Well, maybe not acceptable, more tolerable. Yeah. Because as soon as you start not getting what you need, then those things become magnified. Yes. And you start looking at them, hey, coming up in here again, smelling like outdoors and got on that holy white t-shirt. What is wrong with him? She coming in here with that bonnet on her head, acting like, you can't put nothing other than your grandmama's moo outfit on. Yes, those things become magnified when we don't do things the way we ought to. Josh says, shoot, how about 9, 10, and 11? I'm going to need you to get out the bed. And that's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. Sister Shirley said they got to move so daddy can nurse.
Wow. Get on out of here. I love you, but good night.
Move over, baby girl. Man, Brother Michael says, I'm having to make worries about everyone else's problem. Yeah, we got some issues there.
Yeah.
Especially for grown children. Yes. Amen. That part. Kimmy is reminding you guys to get all this juicy stuff and more. Free 15 minutes with us and one issue. But if you need more time, turn your 15 into 45 minutes before, during, and after I do. Go over to bit.ly/MM3 links. Thank you so much, dude.
while we read Mike's comments, drop your twos. Have we already had
No, we
twos
haven't
in?
gotten to the
Drop
two.
some twos
Yes,
in the
we
chat
there
for us,
is a
please.
delay. Yeah, there we already know,
Mhm.
especially Facebook. You all, the Facebook delay is ridiculous at times. All right. Let's see. Hey, True Movement, how are you, lady? Thanks for joining. GJ Mike
Hey,
says,
True
"What if
Movement.
you are retired and she works? What about it?
That's a good question.
What's the question though? What
Mhm.
if you are retired and she works? I don't understand. Like, you mean about going to bed earlier at night? Sharing is care. Hola, mi familia.
Love you.
Buenas, how are you, darling? All right, tell us, what are you talking about if she works and you're retired? Because I
That's a good
work
question.
and my husband is retired and we don't have these kind of shenanigans going on over here. So I need to know what you got, what you saying, what you're asking. That's what I just need to know.
I see another one.
Okay.
Down there.
Bonnets do not stay on if you do it right.
Come on, Miss Groovy.
Hey, come
They,
through here
they
now.
have been known to fly.
Yes, it is what it is. I had a young wife now, an older one. I'm ready to go back to younger.
Oh,
Okay.
Michael, we gonna have to do
She said, snatch that thing off and pull her hair. Lord, see, y'all saints is a bunch of freaks. That's all there is. That's all there is to it.
Oh, Mike says she's tired.
She's tired.
Okay.
And when you say tired, so can you both not? Oh, I'm getting warm. Can the both of you not go to bed an hour earlier? You know, and that was number one. And I know we asked you for the twos in the chat, but you have to find the time. We have to begin to synchronize our watches if necessary.
And can I tell you, Mike, what has to happen? One of the things that will help is you making it so that she can maybe get a nap when she gets in. I'm not sure the hours, but if you can make it so that she gets a nap when she gets in, where everything is done, taken care of, she can rest, then you can kind of work out number two.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you put the twos in because we're getting ready to?
I seen them too.
Because number two.
Okay.
Number two is schedule some sex. Now, we said go to bed an hour ahead. Maybe that's not possible.
Right.
Home by 4, eat, showering. So you want to make it so that snoring. So she can get an hour in, maybe 2 hours. She's pretty tired, apparently. And so you make sure that everything is done. And I think if you position it well, it may be that she want to reward you. You know, it should be now. That should be what happened. There should be some give that so that you're rewarded for doing the extra work,
right,
and for doing those things necessary for her to be able to up by 4 a.m.
And she's snoring. Wow. Josh says, and these freaks is the tongue talkers. It is what it is. Good job. It is what it is. And she's up by 4 a.m. Why? What kind of job is she doing? Oh, I'm not trying to get into your business. But if she's home by 4 and she's eating and going straight to bed, and then she has to be up at 4, does she not get the weekends off? Is there no time off? Something's got to give there. And if you're retired and she's yet working, then are you all not combining your incomes? There's got to be something, a little bit more going on here that we need to know about. All right. Let's see. Shirley says, if she's tired, you may need to rest. You may need to rest. Can you do housework? You're going to get cookies. Well, she may need the rest. You need to get some other stuff done. So we'll see. I fold all clean. I do. Okay, I do all cleaning and cooking and rubbing. There
should be some rewards.
Yes, definitely. Kim says she may need some vitamins or help around the house. Submission is sexy on both sides. Maybe cook dinner and run her a bath, baby. You will be singing a new song, and she'll be singing a new song at you too.
And there's a section, Mike. I want to recommend that if you don't have our book, and it's not just to sell you a book, but there's I would say a chapter, but we dedicate quite a bit of time to making it so that she will be able to have the time.
Right.
Now, so Mike says she drives a truck.
She drives a truck.
That's a tough.
Okay, yeah, it is.
Now is this across country or local?
It has to be local because if she's,
coming
home every day and then going to sleep, working too much to help kids. See, that's the that's
problematic.
Get them out I want to say get them out the bed, but they ain't sleeping in the bed, but they're taking up for sleep.
Yeah.
So they really in the bed. So
he's saying working too much to help kids. So he's taking care. What it sounds like he's taking care of the kids.
No, it sounds like she drives a truck working too much to help kids. Probably her grown adult kids is what where I'm getting from that.
You let me know. Mike.
You let us know. Yes. Shirley says that's awesome. Can I ask how much rest does she need? Okay. Let's see. Her body hurts too much. And she came off the road 2 months ago to local. Okay. So she was doing over the road, moved into local.
So there's been a change.
Right. So she's trying to get her body adjusted to not being gone over the road and all of that. Okay, I see. You may need to set the mood and send them kids somewhere. Do the children, do they live with you, Mike? And if they live with you, how old are they? Those are some things. And listen, you all might need an encounter session. If you can get her in here, 2-1. There's going to have to be a time when you have to say, okay, listen, mom is here. Mom loves you. Mom is here to give you advice and to help you along the way. But mom has a life and mom has a man. And mom's man is having an issue. Okay, with her working this much because for him, what that's saying is my wife is out here doing all this work and she don't have time to rest. And he's concerned about me. Okay, you ain't got to tell him that. You ain't got to tell him that you ain't been getting enough. You just need to let them know that you're concerned about your wife and that they're going to have to learn how to pick up some slack. And there's programs for them to go and to use. They can pick up extra jobs, whatever they need to do in order to help, because adult children, sometimes they can hold on to those purse strings for a long time. Some children are grown, but you have to send them a bill in the mail every month to let them know this is how much you owe for the car, for the insurance, this is how much you owe for the grocery, whatever you have to do, because you've got to deal with this. You may need to get some lavender oil and give some massages and allow her to rest. Michael says, cause about to give up this live thing, this love thing. Okay. If they adult kids, they should understand. Well, most of the time they don't. That's the problem, is sometimes our adult children, because we have babied them so much that we begin to handicap them.
Oh, they guilt trip us.
Right.
Doing
yes.
For them
Gloria says pain and chronic medical issues can affect couple sex life. Yes, and we were talking about, hey, Gloria, thanks for joining us tonight. We talked about that at the top of the hour, that we're not discounting those things and don't want to seem insensitive to them. These are some simple things you can do when there's no underlying issues like physical or emotional traumas. What I see is a guilt relationship. See, okay, we got you, and I'm not in that good yet. Okay, I get you. I got you. Yes, sir. We understand. Hey, Brother William, how are you, sir? Thank you for joining.
Thanks for joining.
It's only been 8 months. Okay, well, as the sooner that you all are able to sit down and deal with that issue, DJ Mike, the better it's going to be, especially if this is something that you want to turn into a long-term situation. Because sometimes what happens is we get into something and it's just always been like that. And so now when you get closer and they're saying to you, like, well, why is it a problem now when it wasn't a problem when we were together or when we met or whatever? So
and boogers can be so inconsiderate. They don't see the snoring, they don't see the health issues and stuff like that. And So they need a wake up lesson.
Yes.
And it's a tough time. Now listen, this is a situation we would normally cover in
Yeah.
one of our
Sessions.
sessions,
Yeah.
and but Mike was in here and he shared it,
Yeah.
and so we're
And we
so we're not
appreciate
typically
that.
doing this,
Yeah.
but those are some things.
That people are
We
dealing with.
recommend that you get the book, read that section. There's a whole section where we talk about what you can do to help her
Wow.
relax.
Right.
In turn, what you can do to help her to be more available
To
to you.
you.
Now, if
Yes.
she's not willing to do that, then
Then you might need to
mhm,
get on. If y'all are not married now,
mhm,
it's time to consider if this is something that you want to
mhm,
deal with long term. Ms.
mhm,
Groovy says if they adults, they need to get out and pay their own bills so mom and dad can have a play date. Yes,
yeah.
yes, ma'am.
Thank you,
And he
Mike.
says she's been married 4 times, so I feel like just another Negro.
Mhm.
You mean you
Yeah, we
feel
don't
like
want
that?
that.
You feel like that, or she feels like that? So is she
She
recycling?
feels like that.
Is she just recycling men and saying that, okay, I'm going to ride this out until it just doesn't work anymore?
Mhm.
Because there are women, hey, good hair, good body, there are women out here that is their thing, that they are willing to date, they're not willing to give up anything, they just simply want their children to have what they need because they feel like men are only going to be here for a certain amount of time. And so if it's not worth it, then why should I give up this, what I know? You see what I'm saying? The demon that I know, I can be comfortable with.
Yeah.
The demon that I don't know, we don't know what they gonna do, right? Okay. So you screenshot it. Yes, sir. Marriagemakes3.com, MM3 for sure. Thank you so much. I'm noticing. Got you, sir. Amen. And listen, this is why we do premarital counseling. This is why we've done things like relationship readiness. Are you ready to be in a relationship with someone? Because when you are dealing with all of these other issues and you know about these things up front, then when it comes to the back end, you already know them and you can make a decision. Is this what I want to deal with? Is this not something that I'm willing to forego? Is not having regular sexual intercourse, is having adult children in the house, all of those things, you've got to sit down with this person and make sure that this is where you want to be. Because there is, the one thing that it's hard, right? To be a grown up adult person, knowing what you need, knowing what you want, and a person has it in their hands and they can give it to you and they don't.
Yeah.
Because what that tells me is I am not worthy, or you don't find the value in doing what I need for my deposits to make me happy the same way that I'm trying to do to help to make you happy. I want more of a friend than a wife at first. Okay, at first. Oh, okay, first. I get you. Yeah, I want more of a friend than a wife first. Yes, I got you. But they weren't there at first, or I just didn't want to see it. Okay. And so those are just some issues that we definitely have to check into and deal with. So guys, you guys on Instagram, we're going to be right back if we cut off, but we want to tell you that we did number 2, I believe. We haven't gotten to 3 through 6. Number 2, you may have to schedule in your sex.
Yes.
It is what it is. If you can't go to bed an hour earlier, then you're going to have to get on that schedule. And you have to do it just like it is an appointment with the president.
Yes.
Okay, I'm not going to miss this for nothing in the entire world. All right. We're going to be right back. Okay, honey, reset us.
Be right with you, everybody. So anyway, we're pastors. If you're new to the broadcast, if you're just coming in or you're catching this by replay, we're pastors Greg and Michelle Mostella. We pastor Tribe Judah Ministries in Starkville, Mississippi. We're here with you every Tuesday through Thursday between 9 and 9:30-ish Central Standard Time. We drop the tools to help you to get your relationship on and popping. We appreciate you joining us on this Wednesday Hump Day version of our broadcast. We're glad to have you in here. If you're new, follow us If you are new, go ahead and share the broadcast.
Yeah.
You might know somebody who can benefit from this.
Amen.
But from single to married and all
Everywhere
points
in
in
between.
between, we're
Amen.
talking relationship,
Yes.
communication, sex, finance, every aspect of your relationship.
Right.
We want you to marry, to mate right, so the date right,
Date right, so you can mate right.
so that you can make right.
Amen.
Right.
And it's important. And we did dating 101. And dateology
Mike.
is because that we find that people are consistently getting into relationships that they find that there is no end game for.
Mhm.
And if you want to be in a relationship so that at some point you can say, you know what, I think I want to marry this person.
Mhm.
There's some vetting that we have to do. Same way that you wouldn't get in with a business partner without finding out who they were, what they do, how their work ethic is, their credit report, make sure that they're not embezzlers and things of that nature. The same thing we have to do when we're talking about getting into a relationship with someone, because your relationship is going to either make you or it can break you. Okay, let's see. Shirley said, okay.
Well, DJ said that he was sorry for getting us off track.
Oh, no,
look,
it's
that's
good.
absolutely no problem.
Amen. Praise
Thank
our
you,
God. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Groovy One, bit.ly/Lovesy and the number 3. That is our group on Facebook. So you can come on in and hang out with us and we talk. And there's going to be some things changing in there. So please, ma'am and sir, come on and be a part of Marriage Makes 3 in the Lovesy. Josh says, I got a friend and his wife light up the whole house when his grown kids is there. He don't care. Loud sex.
If it don't embarrass you, I'm not embarrassed. He
said, this is our house. And if we want to walk around the kitchen naked, then we just gonna have to do that, because it seems like that some of these children, they think they running something up in here. And so what we have to do is make them uncomfortable. Amen.
If they're walking in your room and without knocking,
it is what it is.
Sassy Ray, thank you for joining us.
Seems like people are having more sex during this quarantine. I think my back is broke.
But it never felt better, Sassy Ray. But it never felt better.
You gotta pay the cost to be the boss.
Nurtured by Natasha. Yeah. My house.
I am so weak right now.
That's funny. That's
I love it. Hey, if it's with your husband, with your wife, you know where they at, where they been, where they going. Ain't a thing wrong with it. She said bucket naked and chasing him around the house. Yes, ma'am, and yes, sir. And so since we're talking tonight, it's like variety is the spice of life. And so one of the things that we have available for you guys that we want to tell you about is that you can go and find it over at Marriage Makes 3. That's the site. There it is. You can find the freebies right there. Right. And when you go over to the freebies, I hope they can hear me. Can you guys hear me? So most people gaining weight. Sassy ain't gaining no weight at all. Okay. There you will find what is called Sex Connect. Okay. I learned so much from my 17-year marriage, but my new wants to get married. Yes, we've been married 5 years and I'm tired, y'all. I love it. Amen. Josh says, what? More sex releases endorphins that heals broke back. Come on. I told her she is addicted to being married, my Lord. Okay. And sometimes that's what I'm saying. They know they are hilarious. They really are nurtured by Natasha. We have some amazing people as our family. All right. So over at Marriage Makes 3, you can see it there. It is called Sex Connect, the Supreme Intimacy and Love Guide. There is going to have all the questions you're going to ask each other after you have asked them to yourself, right? You're going to sit down, you're going to say yes to this, no to that, and maybe so to the other thing that you might want to try. That's going to help with the spice, and it's also going to help you with your intimate talking. Okay, because sometimes, y'all, the sexiest thing that you can do with your spouse is talk about sex, and stop waiting until everything has bottomed out before you go in and begin to do the work in that relationship. That's what our problem is for the most part, is that we allow things to fall down so deep and it gets so bad. And now we're looking at this dilapidated old house thinking, will this house ever be livable in again?
And it's easier to tear it down and just build a new one.
Right.
Than to start over.
Yes. And listen.
I mean, than to repair
this one. And sometimes it does seem that way. But when we get down to the foundation, when we find out not only what's going on with another person, but what's going on with us, then we're able to figure some things out better. That's how we started then. Splash. Amen. Okay. See, that explains a lot. We talk about that in our workbook. Where's our workbook? Where's this workbook of ours? Here's our workbook. When we talk about the dating 101, and it comes with this workbook, y'all. It's 40 some pages now because we updated it and we added some things about stalking and catfishing. Okay. And so when we're talking about the dating funnel, we're talking about up here, this is the first part. And that first part is called physicality. And you all, we have to know that physicality is great, that we're going to see somebody. That's usually our first contact with them. But you've got to go past that physicality and move down the funnel.
So what often happens is that when sex is introduced in this part, we want to bypass everything else.
Right.
And so you miss some very critical things.
Yes, about the other person.
About the other person.
Right. And when you do that, what ends up happening is that you're messing yourself up, because you start to find out that they might be cute, but they might also be a serial killer. Okay. You may find out that, they're cute. They might be sexy, but they're also psycho. All right. And when you find those things out, sometimes it's a little late in the game. And so that's why we did Dateology. It's a 5-hour intensive. You can find it on site. There's a free Dateology that you can get before this if you want to get a taste of it. And it's going to help you. I really believe that it was something that'll bless you forever. Because once you get the principles down, what happens is now you're able to work with those principles, and they're built into you. So now you know, if I'm going to look at a car, that I need to check the mileage before I purchase it, because if somebody's been tampering with it, or they're saying that it's this, but it was really that, then there's going to end up being some issues with it, right? So we have that for you guys. And we also have for you, if you have not yet gotten the Relationship Reconnect, I'm telling you, this is one of those tools that's going to help to get you all back on track. Okay. And let me show you guys what it looks like on site. Let me see. There we have it. This is called Relationship Reconnect. I've been a friend whom we've been secretly in love since '87, but we were both married. See, but apparently you still didn't know enough, right? To be in the predicament that you're finding yourself in now. And therein lies the problems. I married in '02, she in 2014. I got it. And so neither of those worked out. And so have you or her found out what's inside of you? Do you know who you are? Do you know what you need, what you want, what you desire? And do you know the purpose of the two of you being together as one? Is there going to be where you can say, this is going to enhance who I am, or is this going to pull me down? And if it's going to pull you down and you already seeing some of that and there's no compromise, then that's going to end up being an issue.
That's the key part. Is there a compromise?
Right.
you're retired and she's got another 10 years in the workforce, even another 7 years in the workforce, and there's no compromise
in sight,
or she's happy with the children coming, taking whatever they want, coming to do grocery shopping in your kitchen. House, then so those are some very key things.
He says that my desires aren't met and I'm not that freaky.
Okay.
You see? Okay. And so if you're already there now, then these are signs, these are symptoms of something that's deeper, and not knowing whether it's her issues or your issues, both of your issues, or is it the children's issues? Those are some things that you really need to take stock of in your life before you decide, I'm going to marry this person, or I'm going to stay in a relationship with this person. Because the longer you stay, you get emotionally involved. And so now you start feeling like, well, I put so much in. I've already been here 8 months. We already living in the same place. We already using each other's. We get to that place, and so
rationalize that this would be best.
Yes, but it started out great because it started out with sex, and see, that has a way of clouding everything else. And some people are great, amazing, skilled. They are masterful at sex, but they couldn't hold a conversation.
And that's for a time.
Yeah.
Once you're here,
I got you now.
And, you've been rewarded, so you need to settle down and wait till I get some rest, or see. So that's
so there's all sorts of layers.
A lot of questions.
So that she was scared I would go back to my wife. See, so there's a whole lot. There's probably some ghost of relationships past that she's dealing with. There's all sorts of stuff. And so this is what we say, that when we're doing this 15-minute free part, that encounter session, we're able to talk about some of these things and really get to the bottom. I mean, not in 15 minutes, of course, but sometimes after we get out of one relationship, it's good for us to be with a mentor, someone that's going to show us ourselves, someone that's going to help us to do the work, so that when that person does come along, that we can see beyond the draws. Okay? Amen.
Because initially, the person is everything is going to be great.
Yeah.
You have wonderful
everything. Yes, because it's new, it's exciting. And this is why when a husband and a wife that have been having lackluster relationship and sex, when they start adding different things in, they're different. Like, hold on. Okay, like you were talking about that bonnet. Now, if she came and she was wearing something like this, right?
The bonnet.
Right. Okay. If she pulled out something like this and wait, let's see. There's a string here. So if she pulled out like this, right? And had that on, well, what happens is that rush, that newness, that connection gets in. And then you look at her like, whoa, wait a minute, I didn't know I was in that penny. And so this is what we're saying. If you can, with what you already had going, and I understand that the wife, that ain't there no more and all of that. Well, here's the thing. When we begin to refire those synapses, when we start putting those together, pow, 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 of that same thing that we used to get when we first came together, that can come. That's the problem. We give up before we realize that thing, that spark we had when we first came together, that it's actually still there. We just have to nurture it. Okay. He says, now my wife see what I was saying. Now she wants to come back. You see, it's not like there wasn't any love there. It's not like there wasn't any spark there. It was just something we get comfortable. We get comfortable wearing the old nightie, the touch me. We get comfortable with the drawers with the holes in it. Like, man, can you put them drawers So retire them. They done all the strings and all that. And so we get comfortable, and sometimes we get too comfortable. Okay? And so when we find out, and sometimes we just get that little time apart. Here's the problem. While we're in that little time apart, here comes Secretary Susie.
Oh, yeah.
Here comes Jody, the milkman. What I'm talking about. The one shorty. Yes, he comes in. She comes in, and it's new, it's different, it's exciting. And so we end up in something with that person, but our hearts are still with the person that we're married to. And so all of those things need to be worked out. Guys, listen, let me tell you about this one more thing before we get on out of here. This is called Relationship Reconnect, and this is on sale. It's regularly $39.99. It's now $99. Wait, $29. Lord, we don't went up.
It's regular $39.99.
Now it's $29.99. That's $10 off. And in this package, what you're going to find is a 4 digital video series, okay, that's going to give you the tools that you need to get the fire blazing again in the relationship. You're going to get a bonus digital copy of 7 Keys to Better Sex in Your Marriage, which is our first book together. And you're going to get this is a 12-page workbook that comes along with it. And you're also going to get, for another bonus, What to Say When. It's the ground rules for communication, and it's going to tell you what you can say when you need to stop a discussion from escalating.
When you want to reach a compromise.
When you need to calm down, what do I say?
And when you need to say you're sorry.
How do I say those things? When do I say them? And listen, this bonus right here, that 7 Keys to Better Sex in Your Marriage, that is a standalone book, but you're getting that for a bonus when you get that Relationship Reconnect. And I'm telling you, that's one of those things that you are going to find is going to help you tremendously when it comes to your relationship. All right. And I'm telling you that just the workbook alone with the book, that's worth it by itself. But you're also getting the 4 video series. You're also getting the workbook. Where do I get that? You get it at marriagemakes3.com, bit.ly. Are you talking about where you get this?
I mean, this.
You give me your address and I get one to you. I get it. You give me your address and I'll get one to you. All right. So please, ma'am, please, sir, go on over marriagemakes3.com. Again, I'm Pastor Michelle. This is Pastor G. We've been in here a long time tonight. We're supposed to be trying to come down in time, but you know what? Hey, it is what it is. Let me see. Just stop telling me where and how to park. Hey, here's what it is. So when we come back tomorrow, we haven't even finished reading. And let me just read this just quickly, and then we'll let you guys go for the night. Okay. But don't forget, marriagemakes3.com. Go over, find it. I'm telling you, it will bless you. Relationship Reconnect, $29.99. What are you going to say, honey?
No, go and get those free resources,
and you can also
get those pay resources.
Okay.
They will help you.
So, still talking to the men. We're on page 46. Premature ejaculate. That's an interesting way to come in, isn't it? But it is what it is. Premature ejaculation does happen even with the most skilled lovers. Stress, anxiety, and being overly excited or stimulated are causative factors. This can be extremely frustrating on both of you. This is why we stress the need to take care of her needs first. Okay. And this is the part that I wanted you all to hear is women, we need you to keep in mind that this does happen. And remember to be reassuring. To even loosely joke about it can be harmful to his ego. And the next round, with your help, he can quickly be brought back into form. This is why we do certain things. Heading to bed an hour or half an hour earlier, scheduling sex. And when we come back tomorrow, we'll give you the other 4. But we just wanted to give you those tonight so that you had something to start off with. If you didn't see last night's broadcast, you want to go back and see some of the things that you can do, some sexy flirting secrets. that'll bless your life and help you to get back on track with your spouse. Shirley says, yep, love the pink and white. Just kidding. Nothing stays on very long. Hey, come on now.
That's all right.
I love it.
50 years, 51 years.
51 years,
Yeah.
going strong.
Awesome,
all right.
awesome.
I really appreciate you.
Oh,
Lord bless you, sir.
DJ.
Thank you for joining us tonight. All right, guys. So we're going to get on down. It's 11 o'clock here. We should have been gone, but it's all good. This was amazing. Good. We're thankful that you all came in, and for those of you that hung out with us until the very end, we appreciate you guys so very much. And don't forget what we always say here is
God loves you.
He does.
He loves you, and we love you. And ain't a thing you can do about it up in here.
Up in
Thank
here.
you, Gloria. Love you, love you, love you. Love you, everybody.
It. Thank you so much. God bless you guys. Yes, and we'll see you tomorrow night, okay?
Good night.
Love y'all.
Okay, guys.
I'm so glad we had this time together. Blessings, sir.
Blessings to you all. Love everybody.